skies Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Richard DeWetting at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 86 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are ready for, I guess, the weekend. Chase is back behind the glass. Haven't seen my dog in a minute. Man, always good to see my guy when he's behind the glass. And maybe this weekend, maybe we'll get something going. But we'll get you guys ready for the weekend. I know it's been quite the week. Chase, I know you were out. I don't know if you had some vacation or you had some personal stuff, but always good to have you back here. But if you guys are ready for the weekend like I am, trust me, it's been a long week, and hopefully we can just kind of kick back and relax, and that would be very nice. So we'll get you guys ready for that. We got some recruiting talk that we'll talk about. We'll dive into Alabama's latest commit. Yes, that's right. Recruiting's been pretty hot, whether that's in a good way or a bad way, Chase. I guess depends on who you ask. But we did pick up another commitment this morning. Matter of fact, it was live on Tide 100.9 that I saw. And we'll talk about that, talk about what that means for Alabama, the recruiting class, and what this young man brings to it. And looking forward to doing that. And, of course, we got Clint Lamb at the top of the hour. We had to reschedule from Tuesday to Friday, which is going to be fun because we'll get to discuss his list that he's been doing, basically his top players for this upcoming season. And I think he's up to 20 now. He's done the top 20, which will be good. We'll be able to go over and get his thoughts on his picks and maybe see if we can give a little bit of I wouldn't say pushback, right? I wouldn't call it pushback, but just maybe there might be some movement that we could have on there. I know me and Reed initially started to try to throw some names out there, maybe see if there's some spots we would maybe shuffle up a little bit. We didn't have a bunch of time, so maybe we'll do that here at some point. And, of course, we always encourage you guys to get in on the action, especially on a free-for-all Friday. We can go anywhere and everywhere. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. Of course, you guys can always join us on our streams. We're live on pretty much all these platforms nowadays. At the Miller's Edge is where you can find us. YouTube, X, you name it, plus the Tide 100.9 Facebook page. And for anybody that is traveling, of course, you can check out the streams wherever you're at. But if you prefer radio, we still have that Tide 100.9 app. That is a worldwide app. Lets you listen to not just this show, but all the shows globally, no matter where you are at. So always download that. Don't forget about it. Apple App Store, Google Play Store. You guys know the drill. I'm pretty sure you know how to download an application. But I mentioned recruiting. We'll talk about that here. I guess we might as well just jump right into that, Chase, because I feel that is pretty important. Other than I forgot to mention Team US. They took an L last night at like the last minute. They added 7 minutes of extra time against Turkey. I'm over here thinking, I got a blue shirt on. I'm thinking of the club Chelsea against Turkey last night. In like the 98th minute, I mean, literally the way it works is like after that possession right there, they would have blew the whistle. And Turkey was able to punch one in. Chase, did you get to watch that game at all last night?
Just a little bit. A little disappointed, but that's soccer for you. It's not over to the last second of the game.
No, 100%. No, it's definitely crazy to see it. Like, because, you know, like extra time like that, like you'll see people get close, but for them to actually literally, I'm talking about that was the very dead last second of that match. But I don't think it matters too much. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, I don't even think the U.S. even played a lot of their starters. So, I mean, kind of is what it is. But I almost just feel like from like not a morale standpoint, I think everybody's still, I guess confident in this team. U.S. is looking good, but it's like, dang, it adds a little, I don't know. Maybe it'll serve as some motivation. Maybe it's a little bit of not a wake-up call like they really needed one, but you know what I mean? Maybe it kind of serves as like, all right, you can't let stuff slip, even though, again, I get they probably went into that match not too overly invested if you're kind of holding your starters out of it. So we'll probably leave that there for now. I don't think they play until next Wednesday is the next matchup. So got some time until then. Maybe we'll discuss a little bit more in depth now that things are kind of winding down. I think that's going to be the round of like 32. I mean, this is a long tournament. I mean, I think it goes until like mid to late July. I think around like the 19th or something like that. So Always good. I don't know if you guys are soccer fans, but you got to talk about it a little bit, man. It's the U.S., Team U.S. Even if you're not a soccer fan, man, support Team U.S. I like soccer. I don't watch as much as I used to, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as a lot of people make it, Chase. I think people exaggerate. If you had to choose between soccer or baseball, because those are the two common ones, and golf, let me throw that one in there. Soccer, baseball, golf, people say are like the most boring sports to watch. Which one would you say is your least favorite or the most boring for you, Chase, if you had to pick one?
I'd have to go with golf, honestly.
Really?
I think baseball, I like the running. I like just there's so much going on at any minute. Soccer, you have to be on your toes at all times. But I feel like golf, you can take a minute, step back, kind of regroup yourself, and then go to the next hole. And I just like things so much fast paced. I'll get bored. I'll be like, okay, I'll do something else. But yeah, golf in those three sports is the most boring for sure.
That's fair. Now, it depends on how you're really, I guess, judging it. Because to me, I mean, I know I asked you this question. I guess I got to pick one. But, like, I don't really think any of them are, like, truly boring, I would say. You know what I mean? Like, if I had to pick one, I would probably would agree with you, maybe golf, if you had to pick one. But the thing about golf is it is a relaxing sport, in my opinion. Like, I kind of put golf with one of those things where, like, on a Sunday afternoon, especially with the when it really comes down to the final, the remaining players, right, when it's like that championship round and it's close like that. I mean, that's entertaining. But realistically, you just throw it on the TV, you get work done around the house, or you're just kicking back in a recliner and just this is background noise, watching the different putts and people taking their putts on the green and stuff, going from golfer to golfer. I mean, I think that's kind of like a soothing type, I guess, of sport to watch. But I would say, I mean, I think soccer is pretty entertaining, especially when people are making runs. You know what I mean? Build up, like, oh, okay. And it slows down a little bit, picks back up, slows down. And then baseball, I think baseball is a lot more entertaining than people give it credit for. Personally, I mean, there are moments where it does get flat and feel boring, but like, especially when it feels competitive and you're watching teams, like, for example, like, these SEC teams were going at it, right? In the postseason. I mean, Georgia, Ole Miss or Georgia, Mississippi State, whoever it was, they had that big game and like three home runs and like stuff, like moments like that, which I'm not saying that happens all the time, but it's big. Or you're watching a pitcher who's just, I mean, he's just throwing it. You know what I mean? I think that is entertaining, but some people might not. I don't know. But anyway, just thought about that. That said, I guess we are already due for a break. When we come back, we will officially talk some recruiting because we got to talk the Tide's latest commitment, a guy that plays my position. I'm always fired up to talk about that. So we'll talk a little bit about who he is, what he brings to the table when we come back on this free-for-all Friday edition of Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started.
For new auto insurance business, rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless
It's quick, it's easy, and it's free. Go to mylocalcustomers.com today.
That's mylocalcustomers.com. Mylocalcustomers.com.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website. Breaking news, bold opinions, and pure Crimson Tide spirit. Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're about to talk some recruiting talk, Chase. That's the talk that's going around right now, man. It's that time of year. We finally converted into, talking recruiting here on the show, man. I mean, that's what we've talked about pretty much all week. But it's been fun, though, I'll be honest with you. I mean, like, it's not like really breaking down tape, but it's cool to go watch and eval and do stuff like that. So I don't mind it, but I like doing it this way where we're focused on the guys that we know are committed here. Not saying they couldn't go elsewhere if they stuff to sign, but you get the point. I ain't sitting there watching 300 high school kids that could end up at God knows where.
I was just about to ask you how you felt about that, like how these like recruiters, I'm not recruiters, but people are like into this stuff. They watch so much film, like you just gave light onto it. So I was going to ask you, like, how do you feel about that? And just like the way you do it, I like it too because you're able to break down like who's actually committed to football. So it makes it easier.
The important pieces. I mean, but nowadays, I guess technically you're not. It's not necessarily a lost cause if you watch everybody because you could end up signing them the following year out of the portal. But I would just rather watch them at that point. I don't know. Listen, there's only so much time in the day, and I just couldn't do it. So I respect the folks that definitely take the time to do all that. But we're going to focus on the guys that do, in fact, sign. And we're going to talk about him in a second. But I noticed Crystal said in the chat, and I think somebody's mentioned this before, but I couldn't find it. I thought they said something about my dad. But Crystal just mentioned that I am mentioned in John Talty's book, The Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban, where it talks about the penalty I got against Louisville. Of course, that whole clip of me getting chewed out. When we were up like 34-0, and he lectured me about it. I don't remember doing. I mean, so I'm guessing they're getting Coach Saban's perspective. That's kind of interesting. I haven't read that book. It makes me want to try to find one. John Talty's The Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban. We'll have to look into that. I don't know. I know exactly what is being referred to. You guys probably remember that. The clip always, every time they post like a highlight reel of Coach Saban yelling at people, like I'm on there, Mac Wilson's on there, Lane Kiffin's on there. I mean, like I can tell you everybody who's on there because we got some memorable butt chewing from Coach. And always fun to look back on those. Anyway, we got to talk some recruiting, Chase. Jeremiah Beverly, an edge out of Tuscaloosa, right down the road, Hillcrest High School. Shout out to Hillcrest. My teammate, Keith Holcomb, he played at Hillcrest. I actually got to go to some Hillcrest games when I first got to Alabama. Matter of fact, when I first got here, I spent a lot of time around Hillcrest. Keith grew up in that area. I obviously went into school. So I almost felt like I was a part of the Hillcrest community briefly. Not really. I mean, I went to a couple football games. We were redshirting. And so we had some weekends off. We'd go watch some games and whatnot. But anyway, this young man, Jeremiah Beverly, made the decision this morning, I believe on the Gary Harris show, to commit to Alabama. He makes the second edge in this class. A little bit different than Tyler Younger. Tyler Younger being that 6'5", 230-pound guy that has, all those types of tools and traits, a little bit newer to the position. Jeremiah Beverly, on the other hand, a little bit shorter in stature, probably 6'1.5", maybe 6'2", projected to be a wolf in Kane Womack's defense. But just talking a little bit about him as a player, I got to watch, again, the highlights that they have on their huddle, right? I mean, I haven't seen them full games, all that. But what I can tell you is, who he reminds me a little bit of, Chase? The guy that I played with by the name of Anthony Jennings, man. You're talking about guys that, and Anthony's more like probably 6'2", like a legit 6'2", maybe. And I haven't stood next to him, but I feel like they're around that same range. But that being said, they're both heavy-handed individuals, very powerful. He was playing, of course I get a package right at every time, every day. It never fails, man. I get a package, and then I got my security on the job. I apologize. But he's a very powerful and explosive individual. Now, he played in the system where they play a lot of odd defense. So naturally, as a defensive end, in odd, you're a 4-eye, right? So he's projected to play outside backer, but in high school, play a lot of true end, right? Like a 4-eye type end, which would be more like a strong side defensive end, or even maybe a bandit when we're in those odd looks. So that being said, you kind of got to project him to play wolf, but I feel like he's got some pretty good twitch and athleticism for a guy that he's not like heavy, right? I mean, 6'2"-ish, and I think he was listed at like 235-ish at this time, and he'll probably get up to around 240s if I had to guess. But he appears to have the athleticism to probably do some of the things they need him to do at Wolf. But I like the power, I like the strength that he plays with. He plays a really good natural leverage. has some good twitch to be more of a powerful guy, showing some pass rush ability, Chase. And I like the pickup right now. I was saying this during the break. He kind of reminds me of the other two guys that we had commit earlier in the week, not the highest rated individuals, but when you actually look at them and who they are as football players, right? The tools and traits that they have. And we're talking about traits in terms like physical traits. I mean, yes, he's on the shorter side. I'm not sure about arm length, but I just know he's he doesn't have those types of traits necessarily, like the measurables that a lot of people like to go after. But he feels like a good football player, right? When you watch him, he looks physical, he's aggressive, and I just feel like he's going to be a guy that can go out there, set a firm edge, kind of like I said with Anthony Jennings, right? Like I played with Anthony. Anthony won the tallest, didn't have the most length, but he was very powerful, very heavy-handed, set a very firm edge. He was great against the run. But he also was able to develop as a pass rusher. I mean, even right now, if you watch Anthony, like Anthony's not going to light up the stat sheet. He'll tell you, as a pass rusher, more of a speed to power guy, but he can be effective. And I think that's kind of what I get from this young man. It kind of gives me those vibes. Maybe even like Quay Russaw being a shorter, more explosive, physical individual. I think Quay was a little bit more explosive and probably had a little bit more twitch and pass rush upside slightly, compared to those two. But who knows? I mean, again, we're talking about a guy who's still going into a senior year, and I haven't seen him enough to even say, I mean, he could end up being explosive like that, but I'm not gonna lie, just watching Quay work, man, he's got some explosiveness that, I mean, it's a little bit different, but I like the pickup. I think it's a solid pickup. It makes two outside backers now and gives you some good depth going into next season. I think both of these guys, if anything, I mean, Jeremiah might be a little bit more from a technical standpoint, ready to maybe add some depth or try to contribute a little bit earlier. Tyler Younger, I think, has much higher upside, but we'll have to see. But the good news is, I mean, you got some young guys coming in for depth. Linebackers, outside backers, they're going to play on special teams, so they'll be able to provide that. The new 5-for-5 rule, you're not really worrying about red shirt rules like that. You pretty much got 5-for-5. So that is something to consider there. He was interviewed, I believe, and I'm reading this directly from Bama Online. He mentioned he was blessed to receive the offer. He's been going to Bama ever since he was a little kid. Matter of fact, I saw a picture of him with Coach Saban when he was a youngin' man. So I'm sure it's a very special moment for him and his family. For the fact that I was able to receive an offer from Alabama, it was a great opportunity. I'm blessed to be in that situation. Then he talked about their vision for him. He said they see me more as a Wolf type. As I develop, I need to get adapted to outside linebacker. On my film, I don't really play outside linebacker. I played more DN, D-line, mostly interior. The thing they love about me is my effort, my mentality, and my effort, and me just being that type of player that's going to give it all. And that mentality is what they love about me. So he makes a second commit from Hillcrest just in the last couple of years. Remember Zay Hall, another linebacker from Hillcrest, who's currently on the team. So, man, I don't know, man. Maybe there might be a little pipeline from Hillcrest to not to Tuscaloosa. That was dumb. Hillcrest to Bryant Drive, Hillcrest over to, I don't know, the UA campus. Grab some linebackers and some outside backers from over there. And I'm sure those guys are excited to team back up and play together. But we got to hit a timeout. Again, big congratulations to Jeremiah Beverly. Again, just to kind of recap, I guess a comp feels similar to like an Anthony Jennings type of strong edge setter, a guy that's going to be physical, very heavy-handed, shown violent hands, can probably develop into a power guy with his pass rush. And I think ultimately just probably ends up adding some nice little depth to that room. And he definitely is a good football player. I'll say that, Chase. You watch guys that you can tell that they need some work. They got to develop. And again, everybody does, but just watching him, I feel like he's kind of got some stuff to him that he's probably a little bit ahead of some of these other quote-unquote developmental guys. So just doesn't have the length, doesn't have necessarily the physical measurables, but a lot to like about the young man. So shout out to Jeremiah Beverly, the Tide's latest commit. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling on this free-for-all Friday edition right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Dryer combo innovation that completes laundry in about 90 minutes. Shop top brand appliances now at the Home Depot. Offer valid June 17th to July 8th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy.
Pet Insurance.
Oh, now she switched legs. What a diva.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We're here for the achievers
Who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends.
We are here for you, aggressively pursuing
victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website. Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, we'll do a free-for-all Friday sponsored by Brian Harden Construction. With your phone calls, we'll talk to Brent Beard from Jacksonville, Florida. We'll talk to Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. All starting on the Friday edition of The Game at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app. Yes! Roll Tide all the time. This is Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. The home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're talking about Jeremiah Beverly, who is the Tide's latest commit, an edge out of Hillcrest High School right down the road. So not a far drive for him to get on a campus chase. We were watching his highlights during the break. And just to recap, if you guys want to go watch him or listen to me, just check us out on the stream. You can rewind it a little bit. But again, very similar to a guy like Anthony Jennings, similar size, the way they play, heavy hands. Love that push-pull technique. You see him working a lot of different little I mean, he's got to swim, right? You see that push-pull, that long arm. So for a guy that doesn't have a whole bunch of length, he's got a lot of power, and he knows how to use it. Really good motor. Not the most explosive off the rock, but again, we can do some drills. We can try to work on that. But I think he's got a lot of nice qualities to his game, to be honest with you, Chase. And I'm telling you right now, if this guy was 6'4", he probably would probably be like a top 150 recruit easily. Just being honest. But when you're like 6'1.5", 6'2", of course, it's going to be a little bit of a disadvantage, especially when it comes to evals. But I like the pickup. I think it's a very solid pickup, and excited to see how he makes that transition to Wolf. 205-342-9904. We got Shob up next. Shob, welcome in.
What's up?
What's up, Shob? You sound like what is it, Scream off a scary movie when he's calling and talking?
Yeah. What's up, bro? Man, that's one of look, Beverly's one of my guys at church, man. We've been, just giving a shout out. I got another guy in. Man, he's a good, hard-working young man, loved, man, respectable. And I tell anybody, man, he's one of the most respectful kids I know in the city. And he's humble. And he's got a story. It ain't my job to tell his story, but I tell you, a kid that everybody will love when they get to know him, and respectful, man, and loves his dad. Dad's one man. Dad's a hard-working man. Worked camp with me for like 15 years.
Wow.
And I know you know him. You've probably seen his dad. He's out there with us doing the D-line work. But,
oh, really?
When you meet him, yeah, he's been out there since he was a little kid, so.
Man, yeah, I'll tell you this, Shob. Listen, he's got some really good tape. I mean, he's strong as hell, and he's physical, man. I love how heavy his hands are. I mean, he's got a violent punch to him. I mean, he's going to be able to set a hell of an edge. I keep saying he kind of reminds me of Anthony Jennings, man, like just the way he plays. They're very similar. And I think, man, I mean, if he was probably a couple inches taller, probably rated a lot higher than he is. That's why I always say, man, don't overreact to the ratings and rankings, because this guy, I watch his tape. I'm more impressed than him than some of these guys I've watched that were much higher recruits, So I'm excited for the pickup, and I think it's a great opportunity for him. I love how excited he is for the opportunity, and always good to have young men like that. He seems like a great kid, so it's good to hear you sign off on that.
Oh man, I'm telling you, man, he's one of the best. But he also works hard. The work, man, he's the one we was talking about. I forgot who it was. I think it was Coach Shep was talking about it last year? He was talking about them dogs. We need to be dogs. Like, he's a natural dog. You don't have to pump him up to go. He puts on that uniform. He's ready to knock out whoever don't look like him. Don't look the same jersey. So that's them guys we've been missing. When all you old school guys were saying about he has a heart like a Reuben Foster.
No, I can see it, man. I like just watching him. I mean, you got a down block, and he's he's giving that dude a shove. I mean, he's physical, right? Like, he's always seeking out contact. So I love that about him, man. I think it's going to be interesting watching him make that transition to outside backer. Might be a little bit of a transition period, because when you're so used to with your hand in the dirt all the time and playing a 4 sometimes even a 3, to going up to standing up and having to drop in coverage, might be a little bit of an adjustment for him, but he looks to be a pretty solid athlete. I mean, he's got a hell of a motor. I think he'll be just fine. I mean, it's probably not going to be a strong suit when he does have to drop and do stuff, but I think he'll be okay for the things that they probably need him to do. So I think it's solid, man. I'm excited.
You got to remember, he got a whole nother year.
Exactly. and maybe he'll be able to get some, I don't know what they're running this year or whatever. I mean, the system that he plays in, I mean, they got him at strong end. I mean, he's playing that 4-eye, but I don't know. Maybe he'll get more reps this upcoming season to play a little bit more outside backer in their system. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, I don't know. I think they're going to keep him, but he doesn't. Man, he's single-handedly, man. He's coming down. He's going to own the division. Like, he was murdering them in 7A last year. He's the real reason they held Hoover to what they did up there at their house, punched him in the mouth. But now coming down, and now he's got to face the Centrals, and man, he's going to walk the dog as a senior.
No, I wouldn't be shocked, man. I mean, he definitely hell of a high school player. Again, we just got to see that transition to the next level. And I mean, there might be some limitations with that length in terms of, going against some of these bigger tackles, but I think he'll be all right. I mean, that physicality helps a lot of stuff, man. I mean, listen, everybody was whining and complaining about Ruben Bain's lack of length, and you see how dominant he was. So, I mean, if you're a physical player and you really know how to use, the tools you do have, if you're, that's like leverage, for example, if you're a shorter guy, you typically have much better leverage. If you're strong, you're powerful, you can still cause a lot of head cases for other guys, even when they do have longer arms. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a solid addition, man. I like it.
Well, and you see, I brought up the dog thing because I heard the dog bark. It just made me feel like, hey, there it goes. Dogs are in the house.
Well, not that one. That's a small little golden doodle that won't shut his mouth. I mean, any little noise, man, it's like he thinks he's a Rottweiler. I'm like, dude, you would get stepped on. Please sit down. I'm like, come on, man.
But that's what we need. We need folks that have the dog in them. And see, that dog has a big dog heart.
That's true. Hey, there you go. I like what you did with that, show. You dang right with that. 100%. Now you 100%.
Because we got so many big bodies with poodle hearts.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with it. And I tell you this, I'll tell you this, and this is what I said. I know the guys. It's nothing wrong. They're not bad people. It's just we have too many good, respectable young men. you got to get some probation out of that.
Yeah, you need a few of those guys.
Some curfew pushers, because they're the ones going to play on the line when the game's in there. They're the ones on the borderline of good and bad, but you got to have them because when the game's on, and that's the problem I see with, I ain't going to say names, but you know who I have a problem with on the team, but that's what I see. I see the good guys showing up too much on the field and not the bad person. You see what I'm saying? On the football field, can't be a nice guy. You got to hit people, you got to hurt people, you got to do what you got to do, and you got to stop the ball. You can't be that on defense. You can't be like, well, do I want to be the good guy today? Or, you know what I'm saying? You can't be bipolar. You got to be one way or the other.
No, that's fair. But I mean, listen, that's on the coaches. They got to. They're ultimately in control of that. You know what I mean? True. Who's out there and really even kind of just getting that out of those players. So I mean, I think we got some guys. I think we got a couple guys that have a little bit of something.
Well, we do. We got a lot. Well, what I'm saying is we have a lot of people that are dogs at practice, and getting the game is totally different when man, you've been there.
Yeah.
You know that when people spread that light on you and see what happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That light totally changes everything.
No, it does. A lot of
you
bullets
can be a
are
dog at practice and get out there and see them fans and fall out. Like, what?
And it works the other way around, too, sometimes. I know dudes that, man, they practice like crap. And they get in the game, and you're like, bro, where is this during the week?
They're just gamers. Some people are just game players. They're not practice players. I hated practice.
No,
I'm like Allen Iverson, practice.
I'm sure
Allen's going to show up.
Don't give your players that mindset. You better make sure they're practicing, show.
Oh, no. See, I'm different, though. See, when I'm at practice, I'm the guy I never want to be. I never want to be the big, out-of-shape guy running everybody. And here I come, being the guy that has to run people. And it's so funny, because the fat guy is always the person getting everybody in shape. That never made sense to me in school. Now I'm the guy.
That's funny. Yeah, that's how it works sometimes, man. Believe it or not, that's how it works sometimes, man.
But appreciate you having time on your show, man. And number one show in the land, man. Y'all need to listen, man. So
I always appreciate that love, show. Appreciate you, my guy.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too, brother. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Let's hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling. Again, we've been talking about Jeremiah Beverly, the latest commit for Alabama. I want to say there's another decision coming up too, Chase. I think it might be a cornerback, but I want to say he's been trending a little bit more towards another school. Maybe we'll talk briefly about that and a couple of these other things that have been coming up because there's a lot of news out there right now. We talked a lot yesterday, but we'll keep on rolling on this Free for All Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, We transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9000.
That's 900-9000 for a free consultation. No fees unless we win. No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than that of other lawyers.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, we'll do a free-for-all Friday sponsored by Brian Harding Construction. With your phone calls, we'll talk to Brent Beard from Jacksonville, Florida. We'll talk to Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. All starting on the Friday edition of The Game at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app. What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Going to hold on to sunshine with a pop-up shower or storm here this afternoon at 88, 72 tonight. Early shower or storm, then partly cloudy. Slight chance of showers and storms on Friday, with Friday's high 91 and the temperatures 92 to 95 for the weekend coming up. Sunny skies Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Richard DeWetting at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media Tuscaloosa.
It's 90 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Stay locked in, Tide fans. This is Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9. Chase, tell me what you thought about that. Now, I don't know if you had a favorite between the two. For our radio listeners, Coach Carl, he dropped two songs for us, man. Both themes, intros, anthems, I guess you want to call them, for the Miller's Edge. It was pretty dope. And so he had a country one and he had an R&B one. I thought both of them were really good. It sounds like the chat was kind of split, man. I see we got multiple people mentioning the R&B one, multiple people mentioning the country one. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll play a quick snippet real quick for our radio side to hear what we're talking about. Here's the country one.
Roll Tide on the radio, 5 days, same voices I know, talking about Saturdays and glory days. Christian got the rings to prove it. Trophies on the shelf, yeah, he lived it. He's seen the smoke, he's felt the flame. Turn it up, it's the Miller's Edge, where the stories cut deep right to the chest. From Tuscaloosa nights to those Meadowlands games, you got a preacher in cleats and a champion's name. First down fade, goal line pain. They call him Corey.
Chase, I'm not going to Chase. Hold on, man. We might need to like play that, send that over to Catfish. What's the other station, or the Rock or the Country station, or whatever the other station on the? We might need to send that copy over there, man. Of course, Coach Carl gets all the credit. I'm not gonna lie, man. I know some people that are a little indifferent. You know, country is, a lot of people love it. Some people kind of like, oh man, it's not me. But that one is a vibe, man. I feel like even people that don't like country would kind of rock with that song. I don't know. I like it. I don't want to play too much music right now because I know we got some stuff to talk about. But I don't know. You guys tell me. Maybe we can start playing them. I don't know how we'll turn that into. I guess I can just send it over to Chase and then we can just start. I don't know. Starting the show with that, man. And switch it up every now and then. All right. That being said, we talked about Jeremiah Beverly again. Big thanks to Gary Harris, I guess, for getting that commitment live on air. Chase, were you producing the show when that happened?
I was, indeed.
Nice. Was that your first commitment that you were a part of live on radio?
It was so cool, Christian. Just because his family came, they had the poster boards when he committed. It wasn't like, I don't know if you remember that commit we had talked about that just made everybody get mad because he was like aggressive and he was switching hats left and right.
Oh, God, that dude. Oh, my God. Yeah, I remember him.
He was very respectful, and it was very nice to meet him and his awesome family, but it was cool to be a part of that moment.
Yeah, no, that seemed cool. I didn't hear it live. I just kind of saw like the snippet afterwards, but that's a pretty cool idea to do it on radio, and hopefully they streamed it too, video-wise, because I know, the only thing with radio is, it's like a local thing for the most part. So hopefully somebody streamed it too. That way you could see it elsewhere. But anyway, we got a few minutes before we hit this top of the hour break. I saw this from the next round the other day, Chase, and I thought it was interesting. I hadn't brought this up. It's one of those little, not games, more of a question, I would say. But they had mentioned all the power conference teams that Alabama has never played. Now, I'll be honest with you, I think this is a pretty easy answer here. I think we're all going to have the same one. But you've got teams like Arizona, Arizona State, Iowa, Kansas, Northwestern, Oregon State, Pitt, Purdue, Virginia, UVA, and then Wake Forest. Those are, I guess, teams that Alabama has never played. Chase, out of that list, is there one that sticks out to you if you had to pick one? I think we're all going to agree on this one. I'll give you mine. I think Oregon's the obvious answer for me. I would love to see Alabama take on Oregon. Dan Lanning. That would be a top matchup. I think it would be a good litmus test to kind of see where you're at, right? Especially if you're saying like this was going to happen this upcoming season. You would know what kind of team you got if you're going against Oregon, who has been a team that's lost on average maybe one regular season game over the last 3 years, I think, and then a playoff team, I think, each of the last few years as well. That said, since that was an easy answer, if there is a runner-up, if there is another team on there that was not Oregon, Chase, that you had to choose for Alabama to play that they've never played before, which of these teams would you choose that's not named Oregon on this list?
I would go with Arizona. Arizona has had some pretty good talent the past couple of years. It was definitely a big powerhouse in the Pac-12. It was so cool to watch them late at night, Pac-12 night. But they have some good talent. I know Torio McMillan, he played there. I know he plays with the Panthers right now. And there's been some other good talent. And just their program as a whole, I think if you compare them to like Iowa, they really haven't had a good winning season. Kansas, they were good when Les Miles was there, but then he had his situation. Pitt, I think Pitt would have been a really, really good one. They've kind of contended with Clemson and SMU a little bit, but I feel like Arizona, besides Oregon, would probably be a really, really good marquee matchup. Now, Alabama would probably crush UA, but I just feel like that would be, like you said, a good litmus test to feel like, okay, are we afraid of kind of this outside kind of team we've never faced before, or are we going to look at it as like this is another team, we're going to show what we got, and it's going to prepare us when we face the SEC?
If I had to choose a team that's not Oregon from this list, I think Arizona's a good one, maybe even ASU. I'll mix it up though. I'll go Iowa. Iowa's known for a physical brand of football. I want to say they had the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line last football season, right? Because we watched the tape from Southern Cal playing them, and that was the main game when we were watching Devin Tompkins and kind of doing our eval on him. You know, he had some issues in that one. Now he performed a lot better than the other ones, and maybe he was banged up that game. I don't know, but I just watched an offensive line that was physical, man. I mean, you talk about getting movement off the football. I mean, they were blocking him and the rest of the D-line yards down the field, Chase, right? So I understand why they in fact, won that Joe Moore Award last football season, unless I'm making a mistake there, but I'm like 90% positive it was last season that they won it. They've had good defenses over the years, right? Matter of fact, normally they don't really have good offense. They really have, good defense. But I think, their staple being physicality. And they've had some decent years too as well. I think last year they only lost 4 games last year, so they were solid. Now the losses they had were to number 9 Oregon, number 17 USC, number 11 Indiana, and then number 16 Iowa State. So really, and then they beat Vanderbilt in the ReliaQuest Bowl. So really all their losses came to their ranked opponents on the schedule, but they weren't like bad losses. Oregon, they only lost 18-16, USC 26-21, Indiana 20-15, and then 16-13 Iowa State, right? So, I mean, they're a solid program, and I think from a physicality standpoint, it would be an interesting matchup, especially talking about Alabama currently. We're complaining that we're not physical enough. So I think putting us against an opponent like that would kind of tell you who you got, right? And tell you what type of players you got. Because when you play a team like Iowa, and you got them big boys that just want to be physical, and then they're going to make it a long day, especially up front, I think that would help get our mind right. So I would pick Iowa for me. If you're not going Oregon is going to be everybody's first choice. But to make it more fun, if you had to pick another team on this list, again, Arizona, Arizona State, Iowa, Kansas, Northwestern, Oregon State, Pitt, Purdue, UVA, and Wake Forest. I'm going Iowa. Chase went Arizona. And let's see in the chat. I think Jake mentioned ASU as well. Let's see. Looks like a lot of people are definitely leaning Iowa as well, yeah. So I think everybody's kind of thinking the same thing a little bit here. All right, we got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we keep on rolling. Sorry, I missed Smitty. Smitty said Arizona State because he said the campus is right outside of Phoenix. So that's a personal one for him. He just wanted to maybe have a chance at going and watching Alabama play right in his backyard. I don't blame him for that one. Smart thinking there. We got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this free-for-all Friday edition right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Mario just mentioned Coach Kalen DeBoer's interview with Cole Kubelik. I have not watched that. But speaking of that, we didn't even get to dive into everything that our guy, Martin Houston, talked about with Kalen DeBoer yesterday because we were busy. We had a lot of guests yesterday. Pastor Payne. We had Adam Lamparello of Lamparello Law. We had Brandon Clear. So we'll dive back into some of the latest talk from head coach Kalen DeBoer in hour number 2 coming up right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Martin Weiss.
In Major League Baseball, Junior Caminero hit 3 home runs as the Rays beat the Royals 13-2. Pirates smoked the Mariners 5-1. A's beat the Giants in San Francisco 9-6. Red Sox double up the Yankees 6-3. Texas held off Toronto 6-5. The Phillies hit a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning for the 3rd straight game as they doubled up the Nationals 10-5, and the Cubs dropped the Mets 4-3. The Mets also play second baseman Marcus Semien on the 10-day injured list with a strained left hip flexor. The WNBA suspended Phoenix Alyssa Thomas for 1 game after recklessly making contact with her fist to the throat area of Indiana's Caitlin Clark on Wednesday's game. Thomas also retroactively issued a flagrant foul 2 penalty. The United States finished group play, dropping the match 3-2 to Turkey. Ashton Trusty and Sebastian Berhalter scored. Bosnia in the knockout round up next.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, we'll do a free-for-all Friday sponsored by Brian Harden Construction. With your phone calls, we'll talk to Brent Beer from Jacksonville, Florida. We'll talk to Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. All starting on the Friday edition of The Game at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
And knocked down again. It was Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're now joined by our guy, Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, who joins us weekly here on the show with all the latest regarding Alabama. Clint, welcome in, man. Good Friday to you.
Absolutely, man. Good talking to you today, Christian.
Absolutely, man. Always a pleasure, man. I'll jump right into it, Clint, man. Had a commitment today for Alabama. I think you got to cover it. I know they did the commitment live on our station. Jeremiah Beverly, 3-star, or maybe borderline 4-star, regardless, doesn't matter. Edge out of Hillcrest High School right down the road, made the decision to commit to Alabama. We talked a lot about him in hour number 1, kind of giving our eval and breakdown of who he is as a football player and kind of what fans can expect. What are your thoughts on the big commitment today from Jeremiah Beverly choosing Alabama, Clint?
Yeah, he's a little bit of a different player than a Tyler Younger. Younger is long. You can tell from a frame standpoint, he's probably going to get a lot bigger. There's a lot of untapped potential. You can tell that probably doesn't have a ton of experience playing on the edge. You look at a guy like Jeremiah Beverly, doesn't have that elite length. I think he's somewhere between 6'1.5" and 6'2", weighs between 230 and 235 pounds. And just when you watch him on tape, a lot of odd fronts, obviously. So just his role kind of more so being a defensive lineman than an outside linebacker. The evaluation, you can look at some of those traits and kind of get an idea if he'd be able to play wolf for you. But it's a little bit more difficult, putting him out there on the edge and putting him in a 2-point stance and letting him get after it. But he's a hustler, man. He's just very active. I think he's he's exactly the type of guy that you would love to add as far as being a local kid, being an in-state kid. Has always wanted to play at Alabama. He went to all the Nick Saban camps back in the day, got his picture taken, and he's just going to be very appreciative of the opportunity. He's going to go in, he's going to work hard, and you never know when those types of players, what they can become. And from a build standpoint, not nearly as violent, even though he's got some violence to his game, and not nearly as explosive. But there are some, from a build standpoint especially, there are some Quay Russaw similarities just when you talk about that lack of length and stuff. But, I think this was a good get for Alabama, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how he develops.
Yeah, I actually said he reminds me a lot of my former teammate who I spent a lot of time with, Anthony Jennings. Anthony might be maybe a half-inch taller or so. But when you talk about a physical edge, a guy that's very dominant at setting an edge, heavy-handed, loves that push-pull and a speed-to-power type rusher, but has a little bit of, solid hand usage to his game as well, can flip his hips when he needs to. But realistically, man, you're getting a dominant edge setter, a guy that's heavy-handed and kind of sets tone, really good motor. He just has a lot of similarities there. So I think he can end up growing into a really solid player. I mean, like you mentioned, he's not like a project. I mean, he's got a lot of good stuff to like about him based off his tape. It's really just the measurables. And I said earlier, I think if he was a couple inches taller, he'd probably be a top 150 recruit, even just based off of his film personally. Now, I mean, like you mentioned, right, explosiveness. Yeah, I mean, explosiveness is not necessarily there, like right off the ball. Probably could get a little bit more out of him there. But I think the measurables are what really kind of held him back in some regard. But regardless, he's a really good football player, it appears, at least on the high school ranks, has a really strong motor, very physical. And ultimately, it's just a matter of seeing how he transitions to that new position and then stacks up against, guys that are going to have a little bit more length when he is on the edge. He's playing against these tackles that, 6'5", 6'6", sometimes even 6'7", that with those long arms. You just got to learn how to use your tools to your advantage. And I think he's going to be very solid. Clint, I want to ask you about this roster. I know you've been doing your breakdown, man. Last time we had you on here, I think you were just kind of starting, and I don't think you really even got into it. Now you've already dropped your top 20 players for this upcoming season. Let's start with 1 through 10. We had it pulled up the other day. I know you went ahead and had Yanze Pierre as number 1 on your list. I want to say it was followed by Bray Hubbard. Walk us through that. We need to just kind of break it down top 5 for a second. How did you come away with Yanze being number 1 on your list, then a guy like Bray Hubbard number 2, and so forth?
So, like I think I mentioned this on your show before, it was just a combination of factors. It's the experience, it's the established production, the potential production, the talent, whether it be from an NFL standpoint or a college standpoint, and then importance to the team. And while I absolutely love Bray Hubbard, I think he is one of the most important players to the team because of just the energy that he plays with, the playmaking ability. Yanze, and the fact that I think you're building your entire pass rush that is going to be critical to complement what we expect is going to be a very strong secondary, that's being built around Yanze Pierre. And as you know, as a pass rusher yourself, when you've got that primary, it really makes everybody else's job a lot easier because they're not getting the attention from the opposing offense as more secondary players. If you lose a Yanze Pierre, now a lot of those secondary guys, the ones that, I think that Des Zulu, I wouldn't say if you put all the attention on him and he has to be your primary, I think you can maybe struggle there. I think you can have a lot more success as a guy that is not getting the primary focus from the offense. A guy like Devin Tompkins has certainly flashed. I think he'll be a strong complementary piece. They would probably have to be a lot more aggressive as far as, what they did defensively to kind of compensate if you lost a player like Yanze Pierre. On the flip side, a guy like Bray Hubbard, love everything he brings to the table, but if they lost him, while it would be a huge loss, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the fact that they love Ivan Taylor so much, you got Zay Mincy, you got Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., you got Jira Edwards, you got obviously Keon Sapp's going to be that other starter. You could still get by and still get, in my opinion, what would be quality safety play if you lost to Bray Hubbard. So those were the two guys mainly that I was looking at, and ultimately I decided to lean towards Yanze because I think he's going to be so critical to the pass rush.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would have Yanze over Bray. Listen, Bray is very productive, but I agree with what you're saying as well, and I think that's very fair. Yeah, Michael Carroll 3, Xavier Brown 4, Keelan Russell 5, Latsier Brooks 6, Ryan Coleman Williams 7, Dijon Lee number 8, Devin Tompkins 9, and Caleb Woodson 10. Was there any difficulties when you came up? I'm sure there was. It's always hard when you make a list, but where were those difficulties, Clint, when you made this 1 through 10? Give me a name or two on this list that you might have had trouble. Put them at a spot. Maybe you wanted to put them a little higher. Is there anybody from that top 1 through 10 that you had a little bit trouble trying to find a good spot for that guy?
Yeah, Michael Carroll, I knew that was probably pretty bold because I'm putting a lot of eggs in the offensive line improvement basket, right? Because even if he is individually great, if the offensive line as a whole is still struggling for whatever reason, then I don't think he'll get the credit that he deserves. And so that's something that I took into consideration. And the fact that Xavier is a lot more established. I originally back pre-spring, I had Xavier at number 3. I like Xavier's talent a lot. I think he's going to be he's definitely going to be a potential first-round draft pick. But as far as carrying receivers vertically, and there are some limitations or some problems I've seen on tape, worry about the long speed a little bit. So with Michael Carroll, I'm looking at him and saying, dude, just from what I saw, him being a true freshman playing tackle, a position he hadn't really played in his career, the fact that he's now going to be an experienced second-year guy, the fact that he's going to be back there at guard, which I think is by far his best position, I just think he's going to take a massive leap in year two and really think he's going to be critical to the overall success of Alabama's offense as far as leading that offensive line and trying to get them to improve. So that was one that I, debated a little bit. With Keelan Russell being at 5, like I said, there's a lot of projection happening here. It's not necessarily established guys. That's where I think they'll be. And so I told myself, okay, if you're predicting Keelan to be the starting quarterback and, you know this offense, you know how quarterbacks can thrive in it, you know the importance of that position, not only to any football team, but this particular offense and this particular program. I mean, if you think he's going to do well, how would that put him on your list? And I even considered going a little bit higher, but with those established guys and the talent and stuff, I said, okay, top 5 I think is very reasonable. A lot of people are going to look at that and say it's way too premature to have him up there. Like I said, this is projection, but that's kind of was the decision behind that. Pre-spring, I had Latsier Brooks ranked ahead of Ryan Coleman-Williams. Coleman-Williams in the spring, I didn't hear a ton of buzz about Lottie, which is not always a bad thing necessarily, but Ryan was doing some really good things, generating some buzz. So in a lot of ways, I was looking and saying, okay, I could see the more flash coming from Ryan, but as far as consistency, when you look, I mean, the last 9 games that Lottie Brooks was healthy for, he, I think, averaged 4.4 targets per game. And in those same 9 games, Ryan Coleman-Williams averaged 3.8 targets per game. So as a true freshman, already started to see a little bit more as far as volume. Not much. It was pretty even. But I'm looking at him and saying, okay, I think if you need, like some consistency, a reliable underneath option, I think the more consistent role could end up very slightly favoring Lottie Brooks, which is why I went there. And then with those 2 transfers at 8 and 9, or I guess it was 9 and 10 actually, because I had Dijon Lee at 8. Love Dijon, but Caleb Woodson, I did debate Caleb Edwards over him, or maybe even putting a London Simmons up there. But I just think Phil General of the defense. If you lose him from an importance standpoint, I know they like some of the other guys in that room, but I just think adding his experience, he's got like a little over 1,200 career snaps. The entire off-ball linebacker room outside of that maybe has 150 total. So it's just the experience factor that he's going to bring to the table. He's a 3-down guy. Thought he was just going to be super important to the defense. And then with Devin Tompkins, I think he's going to be easily one of the most important, most versatile pieces that Alabama's going to have on defense this season. So I felt pretty comfortable putting him at number 9.
Yeah, so it sounds like the importance of these players in their respective positions definitely had factored in. So it's not necessarily just the best players, but kind of the importance of their roles to this team as well. That's being included. Is that right, Clint?
Yeah, it's importance, it's production, what you've already done, but also what I think you're going to be able to do. It's not only NFL talent, it's college talent, because, Tim Tebow was a very desirable college quarterback, didn't translate to the NFL, but I guarantee you ask pretty much any program out here, would they take a Tim Tebow? They absolutely would. So sometimes the guy's just a better college player, so you got to take that into account. It was a bunch of different factors, and the way I described it, a lot of it was just vibes. I had no set formula, but these are the kind of things I was considering as I was having a lot of these internal debates.
No, that makes perfect sense. We're joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, who joins us weekly on the show. Make sure you guys check out all the great work that Clint and his team do over on Cover Crimson on all podcasting platforms. And, of course, on X, Clint's personal at Clint R. Lamb. Clint, I want to ask you about 11 through 20 now. This is your most recent list. Anything big from that one or anything you want to comment on? You mentioned Caleb Edwards before. He ends up landing at 11, so he's right outside of your top 10, as well as London Simmons. Those guys, both really good young players that I think are going to take some big steps and be important. Red Morgan, man, love the physicality, love everything that he brings to the table. Rayson Delgado, the transfer at center. He's looked good this spring. You see Keon Sabb. Justin Hill at 16, one of my favorites for sure. Jackson Lloyd was impressive this spring after earning that left tackle spot. Josh Ford, we've heard a lot about him from Coach DeBoer. Will Sanders, E.J. Crowell. any highlights you want to give us on your 11 through 20 of your list?
Yeah, Racing Delgatti, that might be a little high, according to some people, like just because they're not familiar with him. I just think the skill set, the communication, the fact that he really needed to work on his strength and his size, and he's come in and he's worked extremely hard in the weight room, in order to do that. There could be some early growing pains, but I like him a lot, and I think he's you couldn't have done much better, in my opinion, as far as finding an adequate replacement to a Parker Brailsford. Josh Ford being at 18, being the second tight end. I mean, obviously, this is a lot easier to justify after hearing Kalen DeBoer's comments yesterday. But what he said in that interview is a lot of what we've heard all throughout the off season so far. And so I've loved him from the second that Alabama got him. And I watched his tape, that Baylor tape, Oklahoma State Baylor, put on an absolute clinic from a blocking standpoint, in my opinion. So I absolutely love him. Will Sanders being at 19, that's one where, once again, he hadn't even won the starting left guard job, but I think he is going to win it. There could be some growing pains. I still think he's growing from a pass protection standpoint, but just a lot of what Kalen DeBoer talked about in those interviews, too, as far as wanting guys that have the athleticism to pull and get out in space, be versatile, be, the man block, just pretty much a very diverse offense that's going to want to throw a lot at opposing defenses. They want guys who can kind of fill both, all the different needs that you're going to want. I think Will Sanders is ultimately going to win that job, and I think he's going to be very, very good, fantastic at pulling and getting out space and locking on moving targets and getting them blocked. And then E.J. Crowell sitting there at number 20, that was a tough one because, I think there were a lot of guys that might have been a little bit too high. He's my top-ranked freshman, and we didn't really see him much in the spring, but you can just hear the coaching staff talk about him. You can, hear about some of the things he was doing prior to his injury, the talent that he brings to the table, and the fact that Alabama really needs something. I'm not projecting him to be Alabama's starting running back. I wouldn't even be surprised if he didn't lead the team in carries or touches or even snaps. I could see that being Daniel Hill. But I think by the end of the season, you're going to look at the run game and you're going to look at E.J. Crowell, and I wouldn't be shocked if you say he was the most impactful running back. He really elevated that or helped elevate that run game to a completely different level. And he gave them exactly what they were hoping he was going to give them, when they brought him in as a 5-star recruit. I just think that when I started thinking about how important that position is going to be to the offense, I ultimately decided to put him ahead of Daniel Hill and some of these other guys. But, I understand that a lot of people are having a hard time wrapping their minds around that when we haven't even seen him yet. But I am very excited about E.J. Crowell for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're including projections and potential in your criteria, I think it makes perfect sense, especially just looking at him as he kind of offers that home run ability that I don't think some of the other backs have really at least shown thus far in their career. So, I understand it, Clint. If he's every bit of advertised like we think he can be, and he has that dynamic that we believe he has, unlike many of the other backs, I think that really could be that separating factor and could lead to him being a very productive player year one for Coach DeBoer. I want to ask you, Clint, about something you posted. It was your roster breakdown that I know you did, and you really broke down the background of all these players from all of their respective rankings from the industry, Rivals, 24/7 Sports, ESPN, On3, and if it was available. And just talk to us a little bit about that and kind of what you came away with, because I also know, piggybacking off of that, I've heard the stat now that was thrown out that over the last 2 seasons in those 2 top 5 classes that were brought in, I think 47 of the 48 players still remain on the roster. Now, granted, you still have to hold on to those moving into the following year, but when you hear that stat and then you look at things like you've posted of those breakdowns of just really like the quality of the roster currently as it stands, I think it does help put into perspective a little bit for people that are kind of scratching their heads with some of the things happening. Kind of talk to us a little bit about what you found when you did that breakdown.
Yeah, and that's something that we have been talking about before. It's just the staff's ability to retain guys. That's something that it's not. You're seeing the signs of it. This is not just hopeful, wishful thinking. That number one, post the second transfer portal window after 2024, the first one they obviously lost some guys. That wasn't surprising. But after the second portal window, in the spring, they didn't lose a single player to the transfer portal. Then you look at what they didn't lose as far as some of these kids were Nick Saban guys still. You know, they came to play for Nick Saban. They gave Kalen DeBoer a chance. Might have even given him and his staff a couple of years, but for whatever reason, maybe it wasn't the right fit from a schematic standpoint. Maybe it wasn't the right fit, you know, culturally or whatever. You know, you lost some of those guys. But as far as guys that specifically came to play for Kalen DeBoer and this coaching staff, it is Noah Carter from the year before, and it is Micah DeBose. And that is the only two players that you have lost through these first couple of years, these first few years of the Kalen DeBoer era. And so I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, they do a fantastic job of retaining guys. You want to have the ability. I made the comparison to Jalen Mbakwe earlier, where it's like, okay, you know, he was considering entering the transfer portal because he was getting a 7-figure offer. The coaching staff had the ability to not match that offer, and I don't even think it was really all that close, but at least get into a ballpark range where he can stay where he wanted to be at. You know, but I mean, when he was getting offered that kind of money, it almost was the difference was so large, it's almost like you'd be dumb not to take it. And so they want to have the ability, if some of these other programs are coming at some of their big name players, they can be competitive and keep them in a range where they feel comfortable staying in Tuscaloosa and they're not leaving too much money on the table. But, you know, you look at the talent of this roster, the fact that there is so much youth, you know, there's just not a whole lot of opportunities for these guys that you would have to, A, spend a lot of money on, but B, they're going to want playing time opportunities. And if you don't give them that, then they're the ones that are more likely to you spend that money on them for a year. As soon as they get that chance, they end up bolting in the transfer portal. And now that you just wasted that money. So the staff is trying to be smart about it. They've missed on some guys 100%. There's no doubt. But I just don't think when you're talking about a small class and it's not expected to be littered with the top guys. I mean, even I'll put it this way. If you're planning to have a small class, but you're wanting it to be filled with highly rated 4 stars and 5 stars, that's not why it's going to be a small class. I mean, because those guys are going to still want to come in and get the early playing time and stuff like that. So it was always going to have some lower rated guys that you didn't have to invest a lot of resources into. So, you know, that's something that they have missed on players for sure. But it all comes down to, I would say, based off of what they were expecting, you might end up with 3, 4, maybe 5 guys that you were hoping you could get a little bit more at a certain position. It's not like it's 20 players that you've whiffed on that, you know, is going to completely alter. It's in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to alter the roster that much, in my opinion. But you're not going to expect this for multiple years, but in the short term, it makes sense for this 2027 cycle.
Yeah, no, I think it's starting to kind of, I think, make a little bit more sense in terms of kind of the more you post great graphics like that with all that data, then you hear from Coach Kalen DeBoer explaining some of these things, and you start realizing, all right, well, I can see some of this, and yeah, there's still some questions I have, but I think it makes a little bit more sense, at least, than it did maybe a month or so ago when you're like, oh man, that didn't look too good there. What happened with that? Then you hear this and you're like, all right, fair enough. I can understand from that regard. Clint, before we let you go, man, I got to ask you, this all AL.com, I think, asked this question, man. If Alabama does this one thing, they can win the national championship in 2026. What would that one thing be for you?
Oh, man, there's so many things that I would say. But, I mean, I think run game, it all comes down to improved offensive line play and run game. I just think that opens up. We know the passing game is going to be good. We expect the defense to be good. But you've got to be able to run the football more consistently. It's got to be a bigger threat. So if they can do that, I think they got a chance at not only competing for a playoff spot, but competing for a national championship.
Yeah, I think probably the majority of people presented that question would probably say the same thing, including myself. Clint, we appreciate you joining us on this Friday, man. Before we let you go, tell everybody how they can find all the good work that you guys are doing.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Christian. You can find me at Clint R. Lamb if you want to follow me personally on Twitter. We have our YouTube channel, Cover Crimson. If you like listening to the podcast form, Apple, Spotify, or wherever, all you got to do is search the Cover Crimson Podcast Network. But once again, Christian, as always, brother, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you being flexible with the days with some of these commitments, and I certainly look forward to next week.
Absolutely, man. Always a pleasure, man. No problem at all, man. We look forward to it, Clint. Have a great weekend, brother.
You too, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Likewise. We got to hit the time. We'll come back. We'll respond. I want to get the chat's thoughts. We heard Clint explain his top 20 players. You guys agree? Is there anybody you might add in there? Let us know. We'll talk about it on the other side right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC.
When you give a gift from Hudson Pool, you're not just giving jewelry.
You're giving a memory that lasts a lifetime.
Shop in-store or online at hudsonpool.com.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next
inflammation for long-lasting relief, so you can keep moving through it. Feel up to 12 hours of arthritis pain relief with one dose. Feel Aleve. Use as directed for minor arthritis pain.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611. Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education, and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, we'll do a free-for-all Friday sponsored by Brian Harding Construction. With your phone calls, we'll talk to Brent Beer from Jacksonville, Florida. We'll talk to Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. All starting on the Friday edition of The Game at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
You're listening to the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Tide 100.9.
Free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. All right, Chase, let's respond to what we just talked about with Clint, man. Our guy Clint Lamb just joined us from Cover Crimson. Big shout out to Clint Lamb. Again, check him out on all platforms. If you guys listen to it, want to watch it, YouTube for sure. Any other podcast platform, you can find them at Cover Crimson. Clint's 1 through 10. I got it pulled up on the screen. I want you guys in the chat to respond. You guys listening via radio, you can drop your app messages, and we'll definitely try to read yours as well. But the list is 1, Yonze Pierre, 2, Bray Hubbard, 3, Michael Carroll, 4, Xavier Brown, 5, Keelan Russell, 6, Latsier Brooks, 7, Ryan Coleman-Williams, 8, DJ Lee, 9, Devin Tompkins, 10, Caleb Woodson. I think a solid list right there, to be honest with you, Chase. And you heard Clint with his criteria. It's not necessarily just best player overall, right? If it was best player overall, I think we could definitely do some shuffling a little bit. Still think it's a solid list. But with the factors involved with Clint, I think it's solid. If I had to shuffle anything around, I probably would, if I'm being honest with you, I would probably bump Bray Hubbard down to maybe 4, right? I think Bray is a really good player. I know in terms of production and leadership, I mean, I don't mind him at 2. But if we're saying, I might put a little bit more stock in because when I think of best players, I'm thinking one of the first things I think of is in terms of who they are as a football player, where they might be drafted. You know what I'm saying? But Clinton's not going off that. Like you mentioned, Tim Tebow in college is Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is not going to be drafted as high as somebody who's not even half as good sometimes, just off of potential alone. But as productive as Bray is, I would almost argue that, to me, Xavier Brown is the most talented defensive back we have. And I know some people might not agree with me, and that's fine because they're just going off of stats. But I'm going off of just really in terms of a true eval, Chase. I would argue Xavier Brown is our top defensive back. So I would probably bump Xavier Brown up. And again, these are just minor movements, but that's just my opinion. I mean, I talked about Xavier the other day. Good length for a corner. He's sticky in man coverage. He can be physical, right? He can come up and play the run. A lot of corners don't want to do that. Zone is no problem for him. I mean, he's a ball hawk as well. We've seen him be able to force turnovers. I mean, I think he set a record for, pick sixes by something. I forgot. He said something along the lines like Minka did, I think. So he really checks all the box at corner. He might have a couple little deficiencies to his game here and there, but overall, man, I think he would probably be our top defensive back, pound for pound, just really more so off of talent. I'm not saying Bray Hubbard is not as talented. Bray Hubbard is very talented, but it's kind of like the debate last season. People were saying, who's a better overall player, Caleb Downs or Bray Hubbard? And a lot of people would just go straight off the stats. And don't get me wrong, I get in Bray is very versatile and does a lot of great things. But if you ask coaches or NFL personnel, if they had to pick between the two, they're going to pick Caleb Downs. Does that make sense, Chase? I feel like it's a little bit of a situation kind of when I'm comparing these two as our top defensive back. I personally would lean Xavier Brown. That's just my opinion. So I would maybe swap that. Keelan Russell, I think, like Clint said, if he ends up starting, I expect him to have a very good year and without a doubt see him as being one of the top players on this team. It was interesting. He had Lottie ahead of Ryan Coleman-Williams. That one's definitely a tough one right there because if you ask going into last season, that definitely would have been flipped. But now that we've seen both these young men and know a lot more about who they are as football players, I mean, I think that's kind of fair at this point in time. Now, one could maybe argue that Ryan has a little bit higher upside potentially, but I'm not really mad at that either. And then 8 through 10, he had DJ Lee, Devin Tompkins, Caleb Woodson. The factor that, inside backer is so important. And what we've seen from Caleb Woodson this spring, I think he's definitely deserving of one of the top spots. I think if as long as he continues on the path that we've seen him on since he's been here, I think he can end up being a really solid player. Devin Tompkins, I think he's between him and London Simmons, those are your top two defensive linemen. They're both within a few spots. I think London was at 12. I'm fine with that. And just because I like Devin Tompkins' versatility a little bit more than a guy like London Simmons, and then DJ Lee, a really talented player in that secondary as well. Any movement or any changes that you would potentially make on this list while I read this chat, Chase?
Yeah, Christian, I would go, I think 6 and 7. I would definitely switch around a little bit. I feel like even though Ryan had a very challenging season last year, I think just what he did as a freshman, I think it can't get overlooked. It can't. I think what he did production-wise and what he faced against top defenses in the SEC, and to have his number called not once but all the freaking time throughout the season, I think you just can't overlook that. You're right, Latia Brooks has a lot of upside. He's speedy. He's hard to take down, but as a leader of the wide receiver room, you have to go with Ryan Coleman-Williams a little higher than that. I think the conversation with Xavier Brown and Bray Hubbard, they're very good at their positions. They complement each other, but I have to agree with you. I think Xavier has more upside with his length. I think without him last year, you think about the key moments he had, you kind of
he's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, he's
literally.
a big piece. Yeah, well, you think about it. You're right. I mean, I look at it like this, and Clint kind of alluded to this. He was saying if you were to lose Bray Hubbard, I mean, with the depth you have behind it, you probably could afford that a little bit more than maybe losing Xavier Brown, who's your cornerback one. I mean, he's your best, man corner that you have, which that's kind of the way they recruit, man. They recruit such length that, they love to play zone, so it makes sense. But to me, Xavier's like, that's why I said pound for pound. I mean, he's one of the guys that you can call, man. You're not really worried about it. He strapped up, Cam Coleman from Auburn last year in that Iron Bowl game, who was top portal wide receiver, made all that money, and is going to be a first-round draft prospect. I mean, Xavier Brown had the clamps on him, man. You talk about some of these other corners that we have, you're a little more concerned when you're playing that much man. They can do it, but they don't excel in it, right? Like DJ Lee. Like he is I'm not necessarily comparing him to Richard Sherman, but Sherman was a big zone corner, right? Man's not necessarily his thing. I think DJ Lee probably could hold his own a little bit better than Sherm. Sherm definitely did not like playing man, but Xavier Brown, that's not even, you're not worried about that. And I think it's important to have a corner that's a true lockdown guy. And not to mention, I mean, the physicality, right? A lot of corners, they avoid that. I've seen a lot of times he's willing to put his head in there. Maybe not Marlon Humphrey-esque, but it's more physical than the majority of corners. So I would probably move him up a little bit. And the argument with Lottie and Ryan, people might not agree with this, but I think that's interchangeable too. Like you said, I mean, Ryan he had a little bit of a down year, but I'm telling you right now, Ryan's got the potential to be one of the best wide receivers in college football. He has that natural ability. Don't let some of the lows that he had overshadow that. So you're talking about potential and upside. Ryan's got the most potential and upside out of the group. He just does. It's just a matter of getting back to that. And I think if you believe that he can, I would probably put him over. But again, they're back to back here. So really it's not a huge difference. But if someone wanted to do that, which I would consider doing that, I'm cool with that. Let's hit a timeout because I know we got to catch up a little bit. When we come back, we'll review Clint's 11 through 20. We'll give our thoughts on that, get the chat's thoughts on that, give them an opportunity. And of course, we got Smitty on the phone lines. So we'll get Smitty's thoughts when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393.
Providing essentials like clothing, hygiene items, and household goods. Put help within reach. Learn more at good360.org.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping.
Get your life back, baby. Stephen Mezrano, Alabama Injury Lawyers. Mez wins.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website. What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're going to talk 11 through 20 on Clint's list, but let's go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Get our guy Smitty up here. Smitty, welcome in.
How's it going, Christian?
Man, I can't complain, man. It's a Friday, man. How's everything?
Good. I know one thing. Me, you, and Reed need to hire Chase's agent, because that man's always on vacation. Man, we got to holler. I was teasing Chase earlier. Hey, I know, man. I was calling Kawhi Leonard, man. Load management. But Chase is always good to have you back, man. Hey, just saying, man. But yesterday, right, your dad was talking about, Alabama impact players in the portal, the plug-and-play receiver. Well, in case people forgot, I'm not knocking him for I know he's possible to South Carolina. That plug-and-play receiver kind of hurt his knee in the spring game. So, it's just bad luck.
I was trying to correct him, and him. He just starts going. Yeah. I don't want to be rude, but I'm just because listen, I understood what he was saying, but it's like he's got to update his software, right? Because he was going off of impressions of during portal season. Because I even was saying a number of similar things, and again, I'll be the first one to tell you, I wouldn't say that the guys we got are all definitive plug and play, huge upgrade guys. But after having a chance to see all of them this spring, like you mentioned, Noah Rogers, he in fact was a very solid portal addition, right? Might not be Cam Coleman, but seeing the impact that he was having this spring, I mean, he was kind of Jeremy Bernard-esque in the sense that he was proven to be a very reliable target and was going to be a really nice addition. Devin Tompkins, right? That's why I was saying my dad needs to update his software. Going into when we first got him, I'm like, okay, I think he'll help with some pass rush stuff. We got to work with him playing the run. He was a lot more physical than I saw on tape. He's a big body guy, great versatility. I'm not saying he's going to be a day one guy, but I definitely think I'm a lot more confident in what he's going to bring to the table now than I maybe was thinking before that. So I agree with you. Josh Ford, seeing him right through the portal, saw a guy that played 4 games, didn't know much about him. You watch him here in person, this is a big kid. He's strong. He's physical. I think he's going to be a nice addition. So while I understand what he's saying, it doesn't look like LSU's class that has guys where you're like, yep, what that dude can do. I think these are some strategic pieces that are going to be a lot better than some people are giving them credit for. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And I'm high on Terrence Green because I've been saying for the longest, Tim Keenan had no real backup because the young man, I think it was his name was Beeman, he got injured. And so you had no backup, no depth behind him. So now you got Terrence Green and Bingley Jones. I'm not saying Bingley Jones will be a star, but hey, he's one of the guys who's hungry who will do his job. That's why Beeman's coming back. So now you're going to have some depth at that nose position. And but one thing I want to ask you, though, because I know you get to it because Clint, y'all got so much time. But Clint, on one of his videos yesterday, he talked about, the 5 for 5 been pushed and everything. But if there was if they ever pushed a one-time transfer, he talked about how that could affect recruiting. And can I ask you this? Why would you go into a bidding war if you got 5 for 5 and a one-time transfer of a high school kid we can just get a kid from the portal and he's locked in. And that's what Clint was talking about. What were your thoughts on something like that?
Well, I mean, I think strategically that definitely works in your favor. If they no longer can transfer, you're probably going to be able to feel, I guess, sleep at night knowing that once they're with you, especially if it's a guy that decided to transfer early on. Say he was at a program 1 year, you got him for 4 years after that. And I hate to say it like this, but I feel like that kind of gives an advantage to the school, because if he can no longer transfer, granted, he can transfer, but he'll have to sit out. Kind of gives them a little bit more leverage when it comes to the money factor in this whole thing. Because think about it. Now the ball is a little bit more in the school's court. At least that's how it appears to me. Because right now, the fact that these kids can just transfer, they pretty much can demand whatever. If you can't leave without sitting out, I mean, these schools can probably gives them a little bit more power in terms of all this pay that we're seeing. In terms of it hurting high school recruiting, I was thinking initially that it could. But then also remember that right now, over the past few years, we've already gotten adapted to guys having 6 and 7 years of eligibility. I almost feel like we've already experienced that shift and those effects. So I don't think the 5 for 5 is a huge, I guess, change from kind of what we've seen, because people already were suing for extra years. So I don't think it's too much of an issue as I initially thought. But I think it maybe gives a little bit more power back to the universities. Do you see it that way too?
Yeah, because one, if 5 years, you should only have 5 years. I'm sorry. I'm tired of seeing these guys that be 26, 27 years old still doing the equivalent of going to college tonight at the club. Guys are too old. Move on with your lives. That's how I look at it, you know. Just being real, we all seen those guys. Guys, let's move on. Start a family. You know, but that's how I look at it. Hey, if you get hurt, I'm sorry. Life isn't fair. It happens. But hey, you can still use a network to probably get a coaching gig like a Jamie Mosley, things of that sort. And, you know, they may need a position. They may circle back and hire you one day. But I think one thing I wanted to bring up also is like those 2 young edge rushers that Alabama signed, they ain't highly rated. But I'm glad the boys are hungry. You see that watch they tape, they physical, they hungry. And we need to get more. And I see some of the young guys like Justin Hill like that, you know, Dre Jr., some of these other young guys who got the hunger and the toughness and wanting to be out there and be physical. We need to make sure, because they are getting paid. You got to have guys who want to play like they're broke. The old Kobe Bryant mentality. Play like you're broke. And because that hunger is going to be there, and that will translate to everywhere else on this team. Because I give you props. You look at players' tape, and I tell people this also. I told a buddy of mine, Nick Saban has said no to as many 5-stars because he watched tape. You know, people don't want to admit that.
That's very true. That is very true. I don't think people understand that there's a number of guys that he didn't recruit. It didn't matter what they're ranked because he just went off evals. And that's why I always tell people, the evals are so important because, these services, no disrespect to them. I'm not saying I don't respect their evals, but I don't know who's coming out with 5, 4, and 3-star rankings. I don't know who's doing the evals or if they're even doing it at all. You just don't, how do you genuinely rank 1,000 kids? I'm telling you right now, I do evals, and there's no way I'd be able to separate the top 80 edge guys from 20 through 80. How the hell do you know what I mean? Do you know how hard that would be to really do that? I don't, at that point, I trust my eyes better.
And I say this before I run. Thanks for taking my call as always. I didn't realize that it was Jimmy Stein and Clint was talking about Darius White and Ty Phillips being injured much of their junior season. So imagine what they would have done if they were actually healthy most of that time. People got to understand, rankings are partly injuries, not going to camps, anything like that. And plus, these rankings are based on junior tape. You still got a whole senior season. Keelan Russell was a 3-star that was being mocked by all these opposing fan bases. Now look at them now. So these are still children. And so many of them can improve. But at the same time, I just want guys who are hungry, who want to play like they broke. And that's all I have, Christian. Man, you guys have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. You too, brother. Likewise, always appreciate you, my guy. Good stuff, man. All right, our guy Smitty. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we wrap things up.
Talk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends.
We are here for you,
aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, we'll do a free-for-all Friday sponsored by Brian Harden Construction. With your phone calls, we'll talk to Brent Beard from Jacksonville, Florida. We'll talk to Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. All starting on the Friday edition of The Game at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partners.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harden Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harden Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harden Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harden Construction at 205-752-9611. 9611.
Want to know what's going on with the Crimson Tide? Download the Tide 100.9 app today.
About 30 seconds as we wrap things up on this Free-For-All Friday. Just a quick reminder about our friends over at Lamparello Law, lamparello-law.com. You can find them for all of your representation needs, any criminal conduct. If you find yourself in a situation like that, knock on wood, we hope that doesn't happen, but life happens, of course. NIL, name, image, likeness, academic misconduct, they got you. And of course, all those other services that they offer for students, high school, graduate, college, you name it, they've got you covered. Free consultations at their website, lamparello-law.com right now. It's Lamparello Law, the official representation here on the Miller's Edge. That'll do it for us on this Free For All Friday. Big thanks to Chase Behind the Glass, all of our listeners via radio, on our streams, on the app. We appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys have a great rest of y'all's day, and we'll see you guys Monday right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.